I'm Dan Mulhern, and this is Diacardia, the podcast for pairs and partners to deepen their relationship and strengthen each other.
Because a lot of times we make those decisions and they are still hard work ahead. The goal is still a hard thing to get. But when we have it aligned like that from a place of calm, a nervous system that's calm, then you know, as soon as your nervous system gets amped up and you start making decisions from there, they're always going to bite you in the butt later. 100% of the time.
You'll see she's a straight talking psychologist. She's got a Ph.D. in organizational psychology as well as a master's degree in counseling. She's written the book, Be Happily Married. Get the second half of the title. Even if your partner won't do a thing. She's also got 2 podcasts, one called Relationships Made Easy and a second one called Workplace Therapy. Abby Medcalf, welcome to Diacardia.
So happy to be here. Excited for our conversation.
Yeah, likewise. I want to use my prerogative as the host here to share 2 ideas that I know you know from your leadership work as well as your relationship work, and then invite you to share a really mind-bending idea you have about goals, a really potentially life-changing idea about goals. And when I came across you and your explanation of it, I was really struck by it. I thought, this woman's got something really cool going here. She got a really great idea. So the 2 ideas I want to share to begin with is that goal setting is, in many ways, the most important thing about leadership. And when I say leadership, I could mean organizational leadership or political leadership. I could mean team leadership, or I could mean family leadership. I stretch leadership out to include my partner, that I'm leading her, and of course she is leading me. And then into this space of just me, that I got to lead me. And so in all of those spaces, after about 20 years of coaching and teaching leadership, I came up with Dan Mulhern's first law of leadership. And it's this: a turtle, probably forcing you to read backwards, a picture of a turtle,
we see it.
and an acronym, ARTL. And what that stands with is always think from right to left. And the idea here is that we're all on a timeline. We have a past behind us. We have a present. Do a whole show on that. And then we have a future. We hope it extends quite a while. And what I'm suggesting is, in leading myself, leading my partner, and being led by her, leading teams or families, leading today or for the rest of my life, I want to start with the outcome. I want to go down the timeline to the right. I'm 80 years old, I'm 85, I'm 90, and this is it. What do I want to have been in my life as I look at it now from a couple decades away? Or if I collapse the microcosm, I'm going into a meeting with my boss who's difficult, or going into a meeting with my spouse, and we're going to talk about an issue that has been a tough issue in the past. What's the outcome that I want? What do I want to, in my verbiage, I would always say, what do I want to have or be at the end of this? That's the first law of leadership. The beauty of this little wristband, which I wear, and if I see you on the street, I might have 2 and give one away to you, dear listener, is that it has stretch in it. And reality is almost never what you want it to be. If you're doing your breath work and you're into Zen, or your Christian faith is so powerful, or it's your wedding day and life is perfect, it's like that. But gaps grow between what we want and what we have. And when we ask ourselves, okay, what do I want? Then we can be more careful and calm and patient about what's here now, because it's seldom perfect. And so a strategy develops. And as one writer, a pastor, I believe, said, the pain pushes us in life until the vision or the goal pulls. So when we keep the goal in mind, when we remember what we're trying to do, then it's so much easier to be patient and calm and inquisitive and curious and compassionate about what's here. So that's rule number 1. And rule number 2 is the stretch. So those are my views of leadership, whether I'm leading me again or I'm leading Jen for a stretch or Jen is leading me for a stretch, whatever it happens to be, or one of us or both of us are leading on a large scale. As I said and teased in a way, Abby, you have, I think, a mind-bending idea about this, and I think we might spend the whole episode on this because I have so many questions about application, and I think it's deeply powerful. So share with our listeners where you start when it comes to goals.
Yeah. So what I have found over the years, working with individuals and companies and everything else, is that what happens is there's a lot of things, right? Especially these days. I mean, when I was growing up, there was only a few things that women could do, or my mother's time, it was become a teacher, a librarian, or a phone operator, one of which doesn't even exist anymore. Like there was less choice, right? Even in dating, anything,
Yes.
there was less choice.
Yeah.
Just now, choice is everywhere, and we know that's a problem. So what I have found is that people get very overwhelmed because there's so much choice. So it becomes very hard, and you're always trying to choose right. Well, I don't want to set a goal that, then I'm going to waste my time. I hate hearing that, number one, because we're never wasting our time, right? We're learning as we go. But so what I found is that if we can pull back from that and instead make goals that are based on how we want to feel instead of what we want to do, that if you start there and then work back from that, you can decide what feels best, what works for that.
Right.
A quick example I can give is that when there's some show, I think it's on show or it was on Showtime or whatever, called like couples therapy or something. And, the producers had called me about it initially and wanted me on it and to be the expert and, flew me down to LA and I went to Soho House and it was all very, like, ooh, I want to do this. Wow, this is great. This is like, woohoo,
Right.
ego, right? But my goals at the time were, the reason I had left corporate in the way I had was to have more time with my children. So I wanted to feel at ease, relaxed, like I had spaciousness around me, lots of time, lots of room to move with. I wanted to feel connected to my kids. I wanted to feel connection to the people that were important to me, which I wasn't feeling when I was flying all over and not home much. And so all I had to do was stop to decide, because it's easy to go, oh, of course I want to do that. Or of course I want, for anybody else, the promotion at work, right? Of course you're supposed to want
Right.
that. You're always going ahead.
Right.
You're always wanting more money, a partner. You want to get married. You want to have kids, whatever it is that it's an of course. But when you back that up and instead say, well, if I'm saying I want to feel relaxed and spacious and like I have all the time in the world now, right? But I'm
Right.
taking this position. I'm going to take on this thing that is going to be all brand new, which is going to be a lot of bandwidth, is going to mean a lot of travel back and forth, right, down south. As soon as I started to put it together, I realized it's not a goal. It's not something I want. It's not so like not a goal, not even something I want. So it was so easy to say no. Right. So
Yes.
it really was. And not to regret it or worry, because that's the other thing, when you're aligned with your feelings, everything else works. When you get in your head is when you start questioning and you're not sure and everything gets really stressful and you're like, oh, maybe I should have done that and I'd have more followers on TikTok or whatever. I don't know, like whatever you're thinking it would mean. But when you're aligned with your feeling, like, oh no, I love my relationship with my children and with my partner and with my whatever, right? I love my work.
Right.
Then it's easy. So how you feel. So if you can decide for, this is going to be early in the year, if anyone listening can think, how do I want to feel in 2026 or in the first quarter of 2026 or the first half a year in 2020? How do I want to feel? And I don't mean like by the end. I mean January 25th. I mean February 7th. I mean every day. How do I want to feel every day? Not occasionally, not build up to it, but how do I want to feel? Because then everything you're taking in will depend on that.
Yeah. I want to ask you about that, though, because there is a power. in the most microscopic way, you could ask, how do I want to feel now? Right? Like in this minute, right in the middle of this interview with
Yeah.
Abby, how do I want to feel? And that might be really helpful. How do I want to feel?
Yep.
Conversant and light and open and curious, right?
There you go.
That can sort of automatically shift things. But I want to back us out a little bit because I do want to say on December 31, and I would say that to a business CEO
Hmm.
all the time.
Yep.
If you don't know where you want to be December 31, you're in trouble. That doesn't mean you're going to get exactly there by any
Hmm.
means, but if you're just getting where you're getting. So I want
Yeah.
to ask you, like, what would this cool idea of how do I want to feel? If I said December 31, 2026, how do I want to feel? Well, where might that lead me? Because most people are going to go to what do I want to do?
Yeah.
What do I want to accomplish? But I think getting at feeling is kind of different. So
Hmm.
how would two
Hmm.
partners talking about this,
Hmm.
how would they talk
Bring it
about
back.
what that
Yeah.
means? Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I even think of that when I left corporate, right? I had to talk to my husband about, I'm not going to make this like, so I want to feel this way. I want to have ease. I want to have room. I didn't have that right away, right? But I knew
Right,
I wanted that. So it
right.
meant leaving this job, which meant less money, which meant, right, for the moment anyway, which meant like, how do we think about that? So then the goals come from there. Oh, so we want, let's put down our spending. Let's maybe put less in retirement right now as we gauge up to this. How much are we going to need for to have a buffer? How long will that buffer be? Like, so you start to move it back. And that's
Yes,
exactly what you're talking about. That's the
yes,
point. Like you then
yes.
are talking together if it's with a partner or with, there's many work relationships like this where you have to sort of be a team or even of 2 or 20 talking about
Mhm.
how do we want this. And it's really what everybody does anyway, right? Like they're always, here's the goal. How do we, I have a term paper due. Like, how do I, you know, bite that up so I can have it done
Sure,
by the end of the semester, whatever it
sure.
is. But when you talk about how you want to feel, the motivation completely changes because remember, and Jonathan Haidt wrote about this quite a bit, and in the research, we know that we are driven by our emotions, not by our logic. Otherwise, everybody would be skinny and nobody would
Right,
smoke and nobody would drink and
right,
nobody would smoke pot and like, right?
right,
But we're driven by
right,
emotion. We're not driven by logic.
right,
So
right.
if you can get that emotion aligned, you realize then it really attaches to something. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
not spending money right now on this shirt I want because I want this other feeling. Like it
Right,
supersedes it and it will help you
right.
stick to your goals. But if you just have
Mhm.
a goal like I want to lose weight or I want to whatever, I want to save money, we are driven by pain, not pleasure, by wanting pleasure, not, and avoiding pain. So that is
Right,
the main driver in every human. So you're always looking to avoid pain. And it's painful to eat well. And it's painful, if you eat differently. And it's painful to save money. That's why most people don't do it.
yeah,
It,
don't
it is,
say
we
that.
kick the
It
can
can
down
be
the
very
road.
pleasing to eat well. We don't want to set up that contrast,
Uh,
but let's play it out a little bit.
Sure.
This idea that we want to put a feeling out there, and as you're saying, that helps so much then to make choices that are aligned in a different way
Yeah.
to say no to something that doesn't fit. So if I thought in a year and you thought in a year, I want to see if we can do this in real time. Maybe you've done it with Gary, your husband. Jen and I have done some of this now. But for our listeners who might have the conversation, I would say, how do you want to feel, Abby Medcalf, at the end of 2026? Tell me what would have been the feelings you've had, like in a preponderant way. That's a big word, but they came often, right? Because feelings come and go, but maybe you want to sustain some kind of feeling. How do you want to feel, Abby Medcalf, that you've really had in 2026?
I often have the same goals now because I'm old and
Oh,
I know what I like, but I
mm,
generally want to feel enthusiastic. Like every
uh-huh.
day, I want to feel enthusiastic. I want to feel excited about what's happening, and I'll talk about how you do that every day. But by the end of the year or whatever, your goal if you want that. But again, to me, it's every day I'm doing that. I want to feel a lot of ease, a lot of relaxed feeling. I don't want to feel impatient, pressure. I know what I don't want to feel, right? So it's ease and relaxation are on the other side of that to me, or not
Uh-huh.
relaxation, relaxed. And then connection is always top of my list. I want to really feel deep connection with everybody all the time. Like it's not, again, I'm that person who's checking out at the grocery store and making eye contact with the person and like, hey, nice to see, and how's your day? And I'm saying that. I'm connecting. I'm making eye contact with the person if they're bagging my groceries, going, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing that. I'm that person. So
Mm-hmm.
I think of it. So yes, it's this big, again, if you think about it, it's like if you wanted to be thin at the end of, if you wanted to lose 20 pounds by the end of 2026, you wouldn't start at the end of 2026. You would be doing things every single day to move yourself towards that goal. And so that's the part where I call setting intention, which,
Mm.
you and I talked about briefly before,
Yeah,
but
yeah, we
I
did.
call setting
We did.
intention the 18-second shift because I've timed it
Yeah.
and I've timed it multiple times
Yeah.
to get an average. And if you don't have 18 seconds, I can't help you, but I will tell you that spending time, even multiple times a day, setting intention, like whatever that feeling goal is, I would have it daily, today or this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Think about when you wake up, the alarm goes off. What do most people do? What are most people's first thoughts? What are people's first thoughts? The alarm goes
Go
off.
to the bathroom. What do I have to
Even,
do
no,
at
first
work? What do
thoughts
I have to
before
do at
that.
home? First
But
thought,
first thought, the alarm goes off.
first
You were in a
thought,
nice deep sleep. It's warm. It's cozy. It's fabulous.
turn
And
the
that alarm
alarm
goes off,
off.
right?
Turn off the alarm.
Is it a happy
First thought.
feeling? Is it a happy feeling associated with turning the alarm off or no? That alarm, I should say.
Um,
Is it a
mm,
happy, like energized feeling when the alarm goes off?
no,
No,
no, it is
right? Our
not.
first thoughts
Right,
are, I didn't get
right,
enough sleep, enough
right.
already. I didn't get enough already. I'm already there. I haven't even gotten out of bed and I haven't gotten enough. I
Mhm.
I wish I could stay in bed. I don't want to go to work or wherever you have to
Right.
go or get the kids up or deal with whatever, or go to the gym, whatever it is. We start already. So imagine if you started right there in that
Yes.
moment of awakening. And we
What are you
know
gonna do?
that you're battling cortisol. We know that happens right away because cortisol, people forget, isn't just a stress hormone. It is also your get up and go hormone. That's why it's in there first thing in the morning, right? We know that from the
Hmm.
research, you get that right away. So it's something that you want to counteract a little. So for me, and I still do this, and I've been doing it for years, and I teach it to my clients and whatever, but those first few seconds of the day are the most important. So first things first, for me, I get up early to work out first thing, and I set the alarm for 4:20 in the morning because I think it's funny. You still get up 4:30 and do it, but I used to put a little sticky there that with something every day in the beginning when I had to first start waking up earlier, I'd put something fun there, like remember how lucky you are to wake up, or something. Sometimes I put a little joke there. I would do all kinds of things to get myself to remember first thing what a privilege it is to turn off the alarm and not be dead, like so.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and that I'm making this choice, all the things. But what just in that moment, what I tell people to do is appreciate. Appreciation. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. Gary is so nice and warm next to me. It's so nice to have this body right next to mine. Oh my gosh, I have very fancy sheets because I'm that girl. So I think about my frette sheets, my very expensive, fabulous thread count
Hmm.
sheets. I think
Hmm.
about, I usually I'll focus on a picture in the room or a seashell from a vacation, something that brings me just to a moment of appreciation in a moment. That's it. Just appreciating in that second. Then for me, I can do that laying down and not fall back asleep. But if you can't, you would sit up on the side of your bed, first thing, turn off your alarm, and right there, or go across the room and turn it off if that's how you have to have it. And right there, just what do you appreciate right this minute? Right this minute. I really appreciate, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I bought that expensive bureau. It looks so nice. Or I don't care. I appreciate that I have an ensuite bathroom I can go to right now. I appreciate whatever it is. Just in that moment, take
Right.
a second, because what you're doing is priming the brain towards what you're looking to do all day, how you're looking to feel all day in just a little way. You're not waking up going, life is great. Some Pollyanna BS
Hmm.
that you don't believe. You're just
Right.
drawing yourself towards something that feels that is that next step on the ladder. That's all you're trying to do.
So I have a tendency to cut things in two. And so what I hear you doing is being in the present rather than what I think of as a goal or an intention, which I think you're gonna share with us in the future. And so wonderful, right? Is you're recasting the present.
Yep.
You're saying, okay, it's not perfect. I don't want to get my ass out of bed and the floor is going to be cold. But you're recasting it in a way towards, in your word, appreciation, right?
Yep. So you just,
And so
in that moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
So now I'm in a mindful state a little more.
Right.
Now I've like drawn myself out of a sleep state into like directing my brain instead of it already being on autopilot, already thinking of all the, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. Oh, I have to get up, I have to go here, and then I have to feed the kids when I come home. And nope. I'm just right here, right now. There's nothing I have to rush to. There's nothing that's wrong. Everything is right. And I'm just going to now I'm going to set an intention for, and if you want to do it towards your feelings, you can. Usually I do. I want to be, I'm a New York driver, for example. So I'm very aggressive on the road. And here in the Berkeley, Albany area, I don't like how all the Priuses drive. So I admit it. I just am admitting it out loud. And I will get impatient and not kind on my 1 mile commute to work. And so I set an intention but I do this all morning long. I set an intention like when I used to wake up the kids, I'd be like, oh, I want to be patient and kind when I'm waking up my children. I'm going to set an intention as I'm making breakfast. Anytime I task switch, I try to bring myself back. It's great.
To come on and talk about goals and intentions and presence and appreciation. So thanks so much, Abby.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
All right. Before you go, consider bringing one small piece of this conversation into the next conversation with your partner. Subscribe, like, and share if you appreciate Diacardia, the podcast to strengthen your partnership by speaking and listening through the heart. I'm Dan Mulhern, and I thank you for listening.